Hi, and welcome to Tuesdays with Tom. Today's topic, making lemonade, part two. Most of this material that you'll hear today, lessons, are going to be found from the book Squeezed, located at tompabin.com. I wanted to do this podcast because I wanted to add ideas, add lessons maybe to your life today that's going to help you to move your life forward. And if this podcast does that for you, then I would ask that you leave a comment. You hit the subscribe button and you share this podcast with others. So hopefully their lives can be moved forward also. Today's theme again, making lemonade. Have you ever heard of the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day? Right? That's probably one of the most popular and one of the most simple ones to understand. If you want to build something great, it's going to take several days or months or years before it really goes on. I mean, think about it as our education, right? Most of us here in the United States, it took 12 years. 12 years. Your childhood, right? To learn kind of a liberal arts education, right? To be educated in math and English and foreign language and PE and in humanities. 12 years. Then some people say, I want to be really an expert in an industry. And they take another 4 years, right, to go to college and get their bachelor's degree. And some do another 4 years after that, or 2 years for their master's, and 4 years to become a doctor in something. Doctors are pretty smart people, but they're also very driven. Think about all that expense and all that education they went through for 20 years? 20 years? At least? That's why I think that doctors earn every penny they get. And they get a lot, but they really deserve that also. So if you're a Squeezed follower, then you know that lemons are our daily distractors that steal, right, your energy, that rob you of your time, that prevent you from moving forward today. So in conquering those lemons, right, we make lemonade. And what does that really mean? Well, lemonade is those obstacles and tough times that you incur every single day and those dilemmas that help shape our lives. So it's about moving your life forward today. It's about building our lives right today. So I was reviewing a resume the other day, and it was really interesting because this person had 17 years experience. And it was interesting because there was no new title and no new kind of pay structure or advancement. And there didn't seem like there was much movement, but that person had 17 years experience. Or did they have 1 year repeated 17 times? Now, I will assure you one thing, that time will always move forward, right? You look up and it's the next season and it's the next holiday, and it seems like that life goes by so fast. But it's not necessarily moving forward, right? Lemons happen daily, so does making lemonade happen daily. In the previous podcast, right, I talked about the first 4 ways of making lemonade. Number one was learning, right? Growing and taking stuff that you learned today and making your life forward. Not having the same day repeated, but having a new day that's built on top of each other. Again, Rome wasn't built in a day. To be able to do that, it takes effort, right? There are some people that just simply, they work hard. They're just hard workers. And they're able to achieve pretty nice things because they are relentless in their work. Maybe they're workaholics, but they still move their lives forward. Number three is absence of option, right? Making lemonade is putting yourself in a position where you have to do it. And you will, because we're great humans. And the fourth is 20-minute disciplines, right? How are you going to solve That obstacle today, you're going to solve it by a small bite of 20-minute discipline. Those are the first four kind of lessons about making lemonade. Now we go to part two today. The first one is a plan. And I really love the Mike Tyson quote that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Isn't that great? Because you have these great plans and these goals and things you want to do, and then something happens. It's probably called life. Life happens. So, having some small goals today, what's your plan today? And reviewing them and keeping them on your top of your mind today. A small goal is going to be something that's going to be built for tomorrow, something awesome tomorrow, but you're working on it today. Are you just living the grind of today? Or are you moving your life forward today? Because Rome wasn't built in a day. The second part, or really, I guess, number 6, is harnessing your superpower. I know that all of us have special gifts. There's something about you, and maybe it's unseen. Maybe it hasn't been discovered yet, or maybe it's been squashed by life and circumstances, and it needs to come back out again. You've been blessed with some gifts. Maybe you're personable. Maybe you understand design or languages. There's some gifts about you. You have some superpowers. Forget about Spider-Man. Let's talk about you today. You have blessings to give to our world. And maybe you're not taking the most advantage of harnessing that superpower. Now, if you saw a tall person today, a really tall person, what would you say? You'd probably say, I wonder, right, who do they play basketball for? Do they play basketball? They probably do, because most tall people do. That's their gift, pretty easy to spot. Most of our gifts are not that easy. So, right, it's about enjoying or loving your everyday life. And if you're doing that in alignment with your superpower, then that helps you to, right, get through and get into and through those lemons into the lemonade. So I remember my very first career right after high school. I sold fire extinguishers. I was involved in a fire safety company, and I saved lives for a living, right? Those were all slogans and things that we talked about until that first summer of my employment, when I was driving my car from Youngstown, Ohio to Lexington, Kentucky, and my car caught on fire. Now, luckily, I worked for a fire extinguisher company, so I had fire extinguishers in the back, and I was able to put out that fire right on the side of the road on 71 highway. And that changed me. Later on that summer, believe it or not, when you work for a fire safety company, right, you kind of look in the air, and when you see smoke, you're kind of more sensitive to it, right? And that happened that summer also. I was selling fire extinguishers door to door in Amish country in New Philadelphia, Ohio. And I saw a gentleman's barn on fire, an Amish gentleman. And I pulled in his driveway and I helped him to kind of put out this fire. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. But because of that car fire and because of that, I got to start harnessing my part of my superpower. I knew nothing about fire extinguishers. Who knows anything about fire extinguishers? But it's the seventh message, the seventh lesson, right? I was determined to learn because I really believed and knew that every single person needed to have a fire extinguisher. I literally was on fire about doing that. So I wasn't going to be stopped. If I talked to somebody, they were going to buy a fire extinguisher. So the seventh one is be determined to learn. There might be an industry like AI, like something coming up in the future that you might not know anything about. But it's the old Zig Ziglar quote: if you're not willing to learn, then nobody can help you. But if you're determined to learn, nobody can stop you. So, how determined to learn? Harnessing your superpower, being determined to learn may be something that you want to do because it's part of that superpower now discovered. And number 8 is your daily lemonade language. How are you feeding your language? You probably speak Spanish, or maybe you speak English, French, Italian. Speak some language? Of course we do. But what language are you attracting to yourself? Is your days full of excuses and complaining and opportunities to reason and justify things? Are you part of the coulda, shoulda, woulda club? Are you finding yourself saying words like "not yet"? Have you done that project? Not yet. Like you're going to do it, you just keep putting it off. So your lemonade language, how you feed your language, is going to be important. If you have that daily goal that you're shooting for because you have a plan, then you have something to shoot for today. You have something to move forward for today. And now you could be determined to learn to do it. Learn how to do it with the greatest resources we've ever had in the history of our world is what we have today. To learn how to do things, process those, harness your superpower, have a plan, again, be determined to learn. This is all part of making lemonade. Today's day doesn't have to be an average day, when it could be just one of those small days that's moving forward, because Rome wasn't built in a day. So let's go back to the first podcast with lemonade, making lemonade. We talked about one thing more so than anything else: your ability to take these lessons that you learned today and put them into your life. As Jim Rohn says, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. Today. Rome wasn't built in a day, and either will be your castle. Either will be your future, your success, or your next dream. But today, you'll take one step closer to defeating those lemons in your life and making your lemonade. And today, go enjoy that lemonade.